Hi everyone, I'm Allison Hornery and I'm a member of the Committee for Oceania for the International Association of Facilitators. And it's a distinct pleasure to be speaking again today with Steven McInnes, who is the Vice Chair of our Oceania Committee. Hello Steven, how are you?
Allison, great and thank you. It's great to be here.
So as we settle into 2021, we were thinking that one of the themes we could be exploring in today's conversation around, as we explore these issues of knowledge and know-how of our facilitator community, of what it means to think of transitions as individuals, but also in the work that we do as facilitators. So when we think of transitions, what does that mean for you?
It's a really good question because I've been thinking about the transitions that have occurred in my career. And there are times when I've really enjoyed just doing the work I was familiar with and being comfortable with it and being able to churn it out day after day after day. And then to appreciate that I wasn't quite operating at my potential, or there was something else and there was an itch that I needed to scratch. And so that it was informed by curiosity and wondering. And I suppose all of us do that. We have our own developmental paths and journeys and explorations that fit into our time frames and our life stages and what we're experiencing at the moment, what we can cope with. So all of this is unique, I find. But I really enjoy listening to other people's journeys. And today, thank you for the opportunity to share mine.
So this is really interesting. Perhaps do you want to give us a little bit of an overview of your journey so far and what you think some of those inflection points or those transition points have been, and whether those have been more organic or whether there have been some kind of deliberate interventions that you've made to deliberately shift your journey?
Thank you. I started life out as a professional tennis coach. And
wow,
learned the skills of being able to connect and relate with people and help them go through their own journey of discovery. And I realized that that was unique for everyone because no two people have the same skills, talent, appreciation, desire, all the elements that make up a sporting aspirational goal. And then years and years later, when I transitioned into the work that I'm doing, I realized that the same awareness and philosophy and approach was relevant to treat everyone with compassion, including myself, to be able to understand that I needed both to be challenged and to be ready to embrace these transitions. And it started off then that I work with great people and I'm always curious and learning from them and asking for feedback. I found that's been one of the most important things, to not only give people permission to give me feedback, but demand it of them and encourage more of it and make it the norm. And then
go on.
Well, so I've looked at the various leapfrogs that I've experienced, or springboards, that going from someone who just loved working in a training room with mid-level managers and really comfortable working in that space, to realize that if I'm going to help them transform and be the best version of them, I had to work on me. And that started that journey of discovery and exploration. And in fact, over the last 10 years, I'm so privileged to have been exposed to the people and the processes and the programs that have allowed me to evolve into something totally different to what I was 10 years ago.
That is kind of a shared experience among those of us who work in this field, I think. I'm curious about whether you found in that kind of more mindful and having more awareness around this, wanting to learn and adapt and respond based on those interactions that you've had with people around you. Can you perhaps reflect a little on that kind of symbiotic activity where you're working with people who are part of the role of a facilitator is to help with these transitions of various kinds, but in doing that, you find yourself being impacted by conversations, experiences, people. Talk to me a little bit about how you found that experience of leading and learning from being in a transition profession.
There were a number of conversations that jolted me, and at the end of it, I wondered, this is with either colleagues or clients, and I've asked myself, I wonder what I could do differently or better here. And I didn't have an answer. I just knew that there was something that I was limited or stymied by my current approach and thinking. And so that then caused me to really want to reach out and say, well, what else do I need to do? I need to learn more. I need to learn more about me. I need to learn more about frameworks, models, theories, approaches. And I'm a bowerbird at the best of times, gathering things and storing them away and wondering, you know, how can I use that? But there's been a couple of really significant ones. And the first one was when I was introduced to my now Gestalt guru, who's my personal mentor, and he started describing the way of working using Gestalt philosophy and frames. And this was a 3-day workshop in room. And at the end of it, someone said to me, what was that like? And I said, I have no idea. I'm still processing it. And in fact, I was processing it for 5 years, I now realize. And it was like one of those things that so profoundly resonated and yet disrupted my thinking and approach and everything I did. So from that point on, everything was an experiment. I just kept experimenting and learning and then engaging more. And I've realized that journey is never ending. You know, you can never get too good at integrating Gestalt practices and philosophies into our work. And it just gave me a level of compassion for the other, as well as insight and understanding as to my role and the way that I need to hold space for people and for groups to do the work that they have to own.
You know, one of the things that occurs to me listening to you there, Steven, is, you know, this process of discovery and of experimentation that you've, you know, mindfully moved into. It takes a certain amount of courage to be willing to do that and to maintain that level of openness to the new. Talk to me a little bit about that dimension of what it means as a person to open yourself up to new discoveries and to be willing to learn things about yourself and others, and how you find you apply that kind of courageous mindset in your practice.
I've realized that there are lots of dimensions in our life that are a continuum, and you know, you're somewhere on the continuum. You're either at one extreme or the other, or somewhere in the middle, or on a bandwidth. And the continuum that this provokes for me is the risk profile. And I have a high tolerance for risk because as a tennis player, as a professional, you're always taking risks because you want to win. You know, you don't win by not taking any risks. And so I learned that I had to have the same tolerance for taking experimental risks in my work, having no idea how they were going to end up, only that I was going to learn from it. And so there's always been that built into me, and I've realized that not everyone can take the same journey in terms of risk because of their profile. So I've learned to have compassion for those that are on the other side of the continuum that need to have more stability, surety, understand how things are integrated and can move along, you know, that experimental path in a more measured way.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here. In your experience in this issue of risk and the risk tolerance, a lot of us as professional facilitators find ourselves in situations where we are working with either a group of people or an organization that doesn't do risk very well, doesn't have that tolerance level. Have you got a couple of tips for us from your experience and observations about how we can work with that situation and perhaps help people move to a place where that tolerance level might at least be a little bit looser, or at least be, more visible to people?
It's a great conundrum to be in, because there are often times, and this has happened to me many times, where I say to myself, I have no idea what to do now. I don't know where to go. And if I tell the group what I think they need to do, I'm probably taking them down the wrong path that can either consume or waste time, or in fact be counterproductive to the work they have to do. And so I've learned that one of the biggest risks I can take is to embrace my incompetence and to share with the group that I have no idea what to do nor where to go.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? I quite often use the phrase, invite people into your dilemma, and then it becomes a shared dilemma, and you create that kind of sense of common purpose, and also acknowledgement that everybody's perhaps feeling a little uncertain or a little vulnerable.
Yeah. And by role modeling vulnerability, we're giving the others permission to do the same. And I was working with one executive team, and I actually shared exactly those words. I have no idea where you're at, what you need to do, and I'm wondering what you think is going to be best for this group. And to watch the entire group sit in total silence for about 2 minutes, you could feel the pressure building up. And all of a sudden, one person spoke and said, well, you need to do this, this, and this. And my encouragement was, well, how would you do that? And they said, well, I think we should do that, that, that. And I said, well, don't ask me, ask the group. And the whole group turned to this person and went, yeah, what a great idea, let's do it. And all of a sudden they had energy, they had focus, and they did exactly what they needed to do.
It's always really refreshing when that happens. And doing that is a risk in itself, isn't it? Because nobody knows what's going to happen, and you have to be willing to, adapt on the fly to situations like that. Yeah. So look, it's, as always, it has been an absolute delight to exchange ideas and stories and experiences with you, Steven. And I hope that everybody who's joined us along for this journey today has gotten something out of it. I know I have. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Alison, thank you. It's been a delight.
And we look forward to seeing you again on our next Knowledge and Know-how conversation session.